Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Monday, October 6, 2025. And in the news this evening, 4-year-old among 5 killed by gunmen posing as police in Linstead. A quiet Sunday evening in the community of Commodore in Linstead was shattered by gunfire when armed men posing as a police attacked a family yard, leaving 9 people shot, 5 of them fatally, including a 4-year-old child. The incident unfolded at approximately 8:45 p.m. on Sunday when several men, some reportedly wearing police-style vests, descended on the premises along Commodore Main Road. According to police reports, the attackers rushed into the yard and opened fire on the occupants. Assistant Commissioner of Police Christopher Phillips, who heads Area 5, described the scene as a very unfortunate and awful, noting the community had been enjoying relative calm prior to the tragedy. 9 persons were shot, 5 persons have so far been confirmed dead, ACP Phillips told the news. We are here trying to put together the pieces to determine what really triggered such an awful situation. The community of Linstead has been doing pretty well since this year. Among the deceased is 4-year-old Shannon Gordon, a student of Rosemount Primary and Infant School. The other victims have been identified as Maria Sullivan, 42, of Rosemount District, Linstead; Joshane Edwards, 19, of Rosemount District, Linstead; Aisha Washington, 39, a vendor of Rosemount District, Linstead; Famous Amos, 22, a security guard of Commodore District, Linstead. Police confirmed that 6 males and 3 females were shot in the attack. 2 females and 3 males succumbed to their injuries. ACP Phillips revealed that the location was not unfamiliar to police, having been visited on multiple occasions in the past due to long-standing issues and the challenges involving the family. The indicators so far are suggesting that this might be a continuation of gang conflict, which comes as a surprise to us because this area has been quiet for a while, ACP Phillips explained. Unfortunately, among the numbers we have a 4-year-old who was brutally killed. The community is in shock. Senior investigators and multiple police units were deployed to the scene as authorities tried to provide a quick response to bring those responsible to justice. ACP Phillips reported that, up to this point, the Linstead area had recorded only 8 murders compared to over 20 during the same period last year. Linstead was doing pretty well, and so this really comes as a shocker to us, Phillips said. Investigations are ongoing. 9-year-old among 3 shot, 1 fatally in Cockburn Pen. A man was killed and 2 others injured, including a 9-year-old, in a gun attack in Cockburn Pen, St. Andrew on Sunday night. Dead is 52-year-old Leroy Thompson of York Avenue in the area. The incident occurred about 9 p.m. at a premises along York Avenue. The Hunts Bay Police are investigating. The St. Andrew South Police Division has recorded the most homicides since the start of the year. As at October 4, the division had seen 61 murders. The national murder toll is now 522. Motorcyclist dies following crash with a coaster bus in St. Elizabeth. A motorcyclist is dead following a collision with a coaster bus along the Frenchman Main Road in St. Elizabeth on Saturday. The deceased has been identified as Davian Bangoroy, a farmer of Slipe District in the parish. Reports from the police are that both the vehicles were traveling in opposite directions along the roadway when the crash occurred. Upon approaching a corner, Roy reportedly lost the control of the motorcycle, causing it to fall and to slide along the road surface before colliding with the front of the coaster. Roy sustained multiple head injuries and was rushed to the Black River Hospital, where he was pronounced dead while undergoing treatment. Canadian arrested for suspected ganja at a Kingston airport. A Canadian of Brampton, Ontario, was arrested Sunday night at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. According to reports reaching the news, the 20-year-old was held after 2 pounds of vegetable matter resembling ganja was found in his suitcase. An investigation is ongoing. The incident follows a cocaine bust at the airport in March when a British couple were arrested by the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division after they were allegedly caught smuggling cocaine worth $92.7 million. Road deaths are now more than 300. There have now been 301 road fatalities since the start of the year in Jamaica. The latest died were 2 young men in St. Elizabeth who perished when their motorcycles collided head-on along the Mount Plymouth Road. The victims have been identified as 31-year-old Rasheen Smith of Smoothland District and the 17-year-old Marian Roy of Seven Corners. It is reported that the victims were not wearing helmets. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, reacting to the latest fatalities, said the country is likely to surpass last year's 365 on the current trajectory and may exceed 400, which would be a national disaster. Dr. Jones told the news that recent data collected has shown a 20% increase in speeding and careless driving, particularly among motorists who use hard drugs and abuse alcohol. He wants the authorities to impose tougher measures to curtail reckless driving, starting with making the demerit points system effective so that all drivers will have a sense of dread that if they continue to speed and drive recklessly and break the law, then they can have demerit points accumulated and their license suspended.
Unless something dramatic happens, we are going to exceed the number of persons who died last year, which was 365. And in fact, experts are warning us that we may exceed 400, which will be a national disaster. What can be done about this? A number of things. The number one thing that we have to institute on an urgent basis now is to have the demerit point system working so that all drivers will have a sense of dread that if they continue to speed and to drive recklessly and to break the law, then they can have demerit points accumulated and they can have their license suspended. This is a big thing which needs urgent intervention by the state.
PNP Patriots hit back at the G2K, urges leader-level talks on constitutional reform. The PNP Patriots, the young professional arm of the People's National Party, has hit back at the Generation 2000, accusing the Jamaica Labour Party's affiliate of misrepresenting opposition leader Mark Golding's recent call for high-level discussions on constitutional reform. The Patriots' response comes after G2K criticized Golding's October 3 letter to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in which he proposed the direct leader-to-leader talks to advance Jamaica's constitutional reform process. The Patriots argued that G2K's remarks distorted the intent of Golding's letter, prioritizing partisan point scoring over the spirit of national partnership required for a reform of this magnitude. The PNP Patriots claims that Golding's letter welcomed the Prime Minister's stated willingness to collaborate while stressing that genuine progress hinges on discussions at the highest political level. It noted that the opposition leader pointed to historical precedents, noting that Jamaica's current constitutional framework was shaped through direct engagement between Norman Manley and Sir Alexander Bustamante in the 1940s and the 1950s, as well as the bipartisan leadership shown by former Prime Ministers P.J. Patterson and Edward Seaga in the 1990s. The approach also accords with Jamaica's democratic tradition. Golding wrote, urging the government to initiate collaboration at the level of the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, rather than delegating initial talks to the Minister of Justice. PNP Patriots President Reverend Dr. Paul Blake delivered a sharp rebuke to G2K's criticisms. The truth is, G2K's statement reeks of insecurity, the kind that comes from realizing that Mark Golding's intellect and composure expose the intellectual anemia of their own leadership bench. Patriots will not entertain lectures from those who mistake loudness for leadership and partisanship for patriotism, Blake said. Patriots General Secretary Davell Grant echoed the sentiment, warning that the G2K stance could undermine the bipartisan spirit needed for meaningful reform. Criticism from G2K risks undermining the very partisanship they claim to support. Leader Golden's invitation is a clear signal of good faith, building on precedents set by past administrators. The critical issue demands the Prime Minister and the opposition leaders' personal involvement, not to sideline the consultations, Grant stated. The Patriots urges the JLP and the G2K to reconsider their position and embrace the Golden's proposal for direct talks between the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. According to the group, constitutional reform should not be reduced to political optics, but must be treated as a national imperative that would shape Jamaica's future, particularly for the younger generation. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.